Before then, the ghost trains of Old England. The travel writer Ian Marchant explores the twilight world of passenger trains that no one wants you to get on.
Here we are at Stockport Station. It's a station I know very well. I used to live in Stockport in the 80s in my vain attempt to become a rock and roll star and plug into the Manchester scene. But the Manchester scene didn't get as far south as Stockport, and so it didn't quite come off. So I love Stockport Station. And we've come to Stockport to catch the 9:22 Stockport to Stalybridge train. Once a week, you can't get back. There isn't a once-a-week Stalybridge to Stockport train. You can get from Stockport to Stalybridge, but you cannot get from Stalybridge to Stockport without a great deal of changing. And this is a so-called ghost train. And I'm going to be catching as many of these trains as I can, and also going to ghost stations, stations that are only open once a week. For the sake of what? Actually, the Stockport to Stalybridge service did used to have some function. I remember a pal of mine would get on at Aberystwyth, change at Shrewsbury, and then change at Stockport and catch this Stockport to Stalybridge train and then go home to Huddersfield. And he looked forward to getting to Stalybridge because there's a real ale bar on the station. So it was a viable through route. I still don't see why it isn't part of a viable through route from Wales and the West Country up to Yorkshire. Otherwise, you have to go into Piccadilly, hack across to Victoria on the metro, carrying all your luggage. This is a perfectly viable route that people would still use. Hello.
Hi.
You're waiting for the Stockport to Stalybridge train?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'm also an active member of the Friends of Reading South Station. I've got a day off, so what better way of hoping to promote the cause and to get the support of some other passengers on the train today.
Reddish South is the first station on the line after Stockport. If you lived in Reddish South and travelled to Stalybridge, there would be no way back by train unless you went in a big circle back to Manchester and waited a week to take the same train. This man was more than a friend of Reddish South.
It's just purely for pleasure today, just to pass through parts of Reddish that I used to, in the old days, do a bit of train spotting. So just a bit of nostalgia, really.
Yeah. But why carry on operating such a pointless train? Because it's not easy to close down a railway service. The law says a train company needs to consult widely, which is a costly and bureaucratic business. Closing a line is unpopular, but letting a service decline to the point of imbecility is legal, easy and cheap. The Stockport to Stalybridge service costs only £2,600 a year, which is just £50 a trip. Trains like this, which exist only to avoid the embarrassment and expense of closing the service completely, are often known as parliamentary trains. But who travels on them? So here we are. There are 3 guys back there and 4 guys here, so they're including us. There are 9 people on this train. Hello. We're making a programme about ghost trains. And we wondered if you were on this train for train enthusiast reasons or whether you actually need to get from Stockport to Stalybridge.
Rail staff, and I've been over here for a few years, so just having a look really. I used to work trains through Stalybridge several years ago. It's a beautiful morning, done a walk, we're going to Stalybridge for a bite to eat and then back into Manchester and maybe a few pints.
Can we ask your motivation for travelling from Stockport to Stalybridge at 9:22 on a Friday morning?
Just purely out of interest. I think they call us the parliamentary train, don't they? So I've wanted to do it for some time, but it's the first opportunity I've had.
I don't suppose you're commuting from Stockport to Stalybridge?
No, I've come up from London. I'm off to an exhibition and conference which is being held in Ashton under the Line.
Yeah.
It was just a case of typing into the National Rail website, and then it told me this was the way to go. So.
Wow,
yeah.
That's incredible. You're an actual proper passenger. You typed into the website and
That's
it said...
right, yeah. So it just said change at Stockport, and along came this train.
Perhaps the whole internet kind of wobbled and went, ooh.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Have you any idea how you're going to get back?
Not yet.
You're not going to catch this train, allow me to assure you.
Really? Okay.
No, because there isn't a return journey.
Next station is Stockport-Stalybridge, where this service terminates.
We're there. We've achieved our modest aim. It's 10 to 10, according to my Swiss railway watch, and it's taken us half an hour to get to the really rather lovely station at Stalybridge.
The train now standing at platform 3 is not in public service. Please do not board this train.
That's the train we've just come in on. And it said it's not in public service, even while we were on it. This is the Stalybridge buffet bar. So I suppose we should, since we're in Stalybridge, it would be rude, even though it's 10 o'clock in the morning, 5 past 10 in the morning, not to give it a go, really. And it's a lovely thing. And here are our fellow passengers from the Stockport-Stalybridge. Wait, is it open?
Just about, yeah.
Oh.
They don't terminate until 11 o'clock.
That's the story of my life, so... I suppose you'll have to have some coffee. I think the people who are catching this train are heroic, because they don't really want to go from Stockport to Stalybridge. They believe that there's a point in keeping this service open. We met a chap who was a friend of Reddish South Station. We met another chap who was a friend of Denton Station. They didn't talk to one another. I didn't get the impression that the friends of Reddish South Station and the friends of Denton Station were friends, but I suspect they might be allies, a sort of entente cordiale. They're heroes. They're out there fighting for something which seems to me important, which is to try and keep train lines open if people want to use them, and keep cars off the road and stop having to go into the middle of Manchester to get from Stockport to Stalybridge, or more importantly, from the west of England and Wales up into Yorkshire. On the other hand, you could argue that they're just line bashers. Essentially, they're people who want to tick off that they've been on every possible train. It's a kind of weird bloke collecting. There were no women on that train, and I can't imagine there've been women on that train for a very long time. Denton and Reddish South, with their one train a week in one direction, are among the least used stations in Britain. But according to the statistics, there's a station with even fewer passengers. The least used station in Britain is Teesside Airport, with 44 people either buying a ticket to it or from it in 2008. I caught the single train a week to the airport with Alex Nelson, a railway entrepreneur, who last year organised an excursion to the station to try to raise its profile.
The aim was to see if we could get in one day the total annual usage of the station at Teesside Airport, travelling on one train. And we did. It was only 26 arrivals, 26 departures.
Yeah.
And we were on the same train as we're on now, the 10:20 from Darlington through to Saltburn.
So why is there only one train a week to Teesside Airport?
Well, it's because it's easier to stop one train a week than actually go through the closure process and physically close the station. The airport itself is now called Durham Tees Valley. It was renamed in 2004.
Is it close to the airport?
No.
Someone's actually going to Teesside Airport. Hardly anyone gets on or off there, so yeah. It's a
Can you remember the last time people got on and off?
I've never had anyone put it that way. No, so
well, we've made your day.
yeah, nice one getting on and off.
I wonder if there's, at least a possibility that if it was better served by public transport, it might.
Certainly. And if there was a regular half-hourly service to the airport, you'd probably get people using it who worked at the airport. I should imagine the station would be fairly well used.
There's the airport. Problem is there's a huge fence between us and actually getting into the airport, but it is there. Nobody else got off, perhaps unsurprisingly. It looks quite nice, in perfectly good nick, isn't it?
Yes, they repainted the bridge there, the nice Northern Rail blue, about a year and a half ago. Yeah, it must have cost far more to paint the bridge than all the revenue for 10 years, you can be sure.
So, Alex, who are these people, do you think, who are coming to Teesside Airport?
Quite a number will be Railway Correspondence Society members who collect railway tickets, who buy the ticket and never make the journey at all.
There's a payphone.
And it is working. The number is 01325 335 406.
You could ring that up.
You could. This is
and,
probably Britain's least used payphone, and it is actually working.
But there's no way from here into the airport.
Well, we'll show you the way you can go. It's over this bridge,
Yep.
round that little turning circle, along that little lane there, single carriageway width, as you see.
Here we are at the gate to the airport. It's taken about a quarter of an hour to walk here. It says, this gate is a security access point. There is no entry through this gate for any passengers, customers or visitors to site. So we can't actually get in, and it's taken us a quarter of an hour to get in here. And we've got to keep walking, Alex, is that right?
Yeah, we'll try the gate round by the airport hotel.
It says this access point is for the use of St George Hotel patrons only. Insert code to enter.
You either go into the hotel there and persuade them nicely to open the gate,
Yeah.
which they probably won't do.
No.
And if they won't do that, you have to walk all the way around back to the airport industrial estate access road to the roundabout,
Yeah.
and then left and back round into the airport car park. It takes at least 20 minutes to do that. We've already been walking for 20 minutes.
Yeah, we
haven't
have.
So,
Yeah.
So 40 minutes.
I feel like this is the promised land, really. We could go to Jersey or Amsterdam or
Dublin,
Dublin.
Southampton.
Southampton would be great.
The world is our oyster.
It certainly is. I wonder which Amsterdam airport it goes to. If it's Schiphol, that's a hub airport. We could go anywhere. But our next destination wasn't Amsterdam. It was Ealing Broadway. For here was the strangest ghost train of all, because it is in fact a bus. And you won't find it on any timetable. It goes every Tuesday from Ealing Broadway to Wandsworth Road. The day we joined it at bus stop E, there was a bit of a crowd because enthusiast Don Kennedy had incorporated it into one of his guided tours. Normally, how many would there be?
On average, I would say between 0 and 1.
How do you find all your enthusiasts?
Well,
how many?
most of them are from the people that support my Lost Railways of London event. We're going to be looking at where Clapham Goods Yard was, and then in the High Street, I'll be showing people the surviving walls of the bus garage, which once housed the Transport Museum. Peter Green here is the longest travelled. He's come all the way from near Preston, specially for today.
Preston?
Yeah.
To travel on the coach?
Well, it is something of a unique opportunity on this.
Have you been on any of the other great ghost trains?
Yes, quite a lot of them, yes.
What have you done?
Well, over the years, I've probably done all that was available.
Stockport to...
Oh, Stockport to Stalybridge, that's definitely an outstanding anomaly, yeah.
Are you waiting for the
ghost bus, yes.
Ghost bus?
Yes, the ghost bus.
Yeah, how fantastic.
Because we're interested in railway history and...
So, this ghost bus, have you ever caught this one before?
Never. Didn't even know it existed. Doesn't seem to be very widely advertised.
No, this ghost bus is a bit secret, probably because it's utterly bonkers and shameful. In theory, it replaces a train that used to run from Manchester to Brighton. When the train was withdrawn, someone noticed that this meant that 3 tiny bits of track in West and South London no longer had any passenger service running over them. So, to avoid the accusation that a service had been illegally closed, someone decided that the ghost bus would fill the gaps. But only those with an inside track could know about it. How did you know that this coach bus train existed?
We're off from London Overground.
We've seen the bus go by every Tuesday outside the station office window, usually with nobody on it, of course. Thought we'd have a ride. You know, we've got a bit of a soft spot for it, really. It's very difficult to actually find any sort of details about it. You know, we have to display a poster at our stations where it calls, and it's unbranded, it's pure black and white, it's an anonymous poster with no operating company on it, bearing in mind that, of course, this bus replaces a former cross-country network train, shall we say. And if you ring the inquiry number at the bottom, which we did once just for devilment,
yes,
you're not put through to a train operator or a bus operator. It connects you directly to the switchboard at the Department of Transport, to which, when we tried it, the very polite lady had no idea what we were talking about.
It's becoming sinister. It's quite a sinister bus, this. It's kind of funded. There's black arts going on here. Nobody knows who funds it. Nobody knows who runs it.
It's very secret service.
Hello, you're Tom.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing these trips on the Ghost bus?
Since last year. This is my fourth trip on it, and it's like a day out for me, you know, to see what's going on.
So you head out on the bus, and there's a cafe you go to.
Yeah, Clapham High Street Station. There's a station underneath that, so we meet up there and have something to eat.
It's hot, it's sticky, we're stuck in traffic. It just strikes me as ludicrous. I mean, it's a great day out with the guys. This must be the slowest train service outside of the great little trains of Wales, anyway. We go on little narrow gauge trains and you expect to go at 12 miles an hour. Well, more like 4 miles an hour. At the Clapham High Street Cafe, Don and I spread out some rail maps and tried to figure out what this ghost bus was supposed to replace. We were joined by a man who used to work for British Rail, who didn't want to be named.
The erstwhile intercity cross-country service from Manchester to Brighton was a very useful service. It served Oxford, Reading, Kensington Olympia, Croydon, Gatwick Airport and through to Brighton, obviating the use of going into London Terminal and changing and crossing onto the tube and things like that.
It didn't actually pick people up at Ealing Broadway, did it?
Oh, good heavens, no.
So now, the little bus that we've been on, that's just to keep alive this fiction that there are still trains running over these bits of line.
That's right. The DFT would have looked at a map like this and would have thought about these 3 sections of route and would have thought, what's the minimum bus journey we can come up with that encompasses the geographical area that includes these 3 sections?
Yeah.
And it's a whole different ballgame from the principle of running a major cross-country service.
They're literally running this section on the shortest section of that long Manchester to Brighton service, Ealing Broadway to Wandsworth Road. Now, nobody travels just to Ealing Broadway, and Wandsworth Road is in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it's in the middle of Wandsworth, in defence of the good people of Wandsworth. But if you wanted to make the journey from Manchester to Brighton, could you use this bus as any part of your journey?
You could if you were adept with the Network Rail Journey Planner online.
Is this journey on the Network Journey Planner online?
The bus, a very good question, Ian, yes. The bus journey isn't. You need to have seen the posters.
Of which there are only 3 posters.
Well, now
it's only you and your band of brothers who could make this journey.
Now the posters are down to 2.
The posters should be in Manchester and Brighton. So how would you get from Manchester to Ealing Broadway?
You would catch.
Sorry, by 9:45 on a Tuesday
I see
morning.
what you mean, yes. Well, I'd need the timetable in front of me. In theory, there'd be an early train down from Manchester to Reading, and then there'd be a service from Reading to Ealing Broadway. If you really wanted
you would then catch the bus to Wandsworth Road.
I put it to you, it is a physical impossibility to catch that 9:45 bus leaving from Manchester.
That may be the case.
The same morning.
In the
presumably you come from Manchester the night before.
Oh, yes.
Keep on Reading Station, catch the...
Oh, yes, the waiting room is open all night.
I said that the Ealing Broadway Ghost Bus train was the strangest parliamentary service, but I think on reflection that this one is even stranger. Newhaven Marine Station, which I visited with local train enthusiast and ticketing expert Brian Boddy. There's a sign saying platform closed for temporary repairs. I mean, how long's it been closed?
It's been closed a long time, I would say. The roof is supposed to be unsafe.
They say it's got a glass canopy, but actually there's no glass in there. There are people with their car parked.
Well, there we are, so it can't be unsafe.
Next to a building which is deserted and has been deserted for years. No boats arrive at Newhaven Marine. You can't get on the platform. There's another station 200 yards away. So, is Newhaven Marine Station closed? Not according to the Department of Transport. Last year, the local MP, Lib Dem Norman Baker, asked the government when the last train service departed from Newhaven Marine. And the minister said, a passenger train service is still operating from Newhaven Marine Station. Mr Baker then asked the minister when the last train service had been delivered by rail? And the answer came back that Newhaven Marine Station has not been safe for passengers since August 2006. We were going to visit Newhaven Marine with Norman Baker, but then came the election, and in a huge irony, he became the Transport Minister himself, and so wasn't able to come. So Brian and I tried to work out what was going on for ourselves. There's a poster here. Newhaven Marine Station. For the safety of our passengers, no train services are currently in operation from this station.
Well, a debatable point, actually, because there is one train that goes in there every night, Monday to Friday. Leaves Lewis at 10 minutes to 8, comes down here, and then it goes back at 8:15 from here back to Brighton.
How do you know that there is such a train?
Keeping one's eyes open, I suppose.
No passenger could know of this train.
Well, they wouldn't do unless you were an enthusiast.
The poster here says, for passengers with a valid rail ticket intending to travel on the 1852 to Lewis weekday services, we will provide a replacement taxi at no additional cost in place of the scheduled train service. Alternatively, passengers may prefer to walk to Newhaven Harbour Station, which is approximately 3 minutes walk north of this station in the direction of Newhaven Town Centre. It's a 3 minutes walk if you're a slow walker. If you walk at a normal pace, it's what, a minute? And the catch here is that for passengers with a valid rail ticket intending to travel on the 1852, which how could you intend to travel on it if you don't know it exists? They'll provide a replacement taxi. So our next job is to try and get a valid rail ticket for this service, which doesn't seem to exist.
That's right, and the booking office at the harbour station was withdrawn many years ago.
Maybe there's one at the town station.
Oh, there is a town yes, but the booking office is only open during the mornings.
We've got to get a valid rail ticket. There must be a way. We drove to Seaford Station to see if we could get a ticket there for the secret train no one was allowed to get on. Hello. Hello. What we would like to do, if possible, is we would like to buy 3 singles from Newhaven Marine Station to
harbour.
Lewis.
Yeah. The Newhaven Harbour.
No, Newhaven Marine.
We don't stop at Newhaven Marine. It's either the town or the harbour.
But there's a sign at Newhaven Marine Station that says if you've got a valid ticket from Newhaven Marine Station, they'll provide you a replacement taxi service to Lewis.
Okay. Is this a big wind-up?
No, Newhaven Marine Station is supposed to be open. Now she's ringing up her supervisor to see if there is any way that we can get a valid ticket from Newhaven Marine Station. There's a queue forming behind us. If we had have had a valid rail ticket, according to her, and we'd have been disabled and unable to make the walk up to Newhaven Harbour Station, then they would provide a replacement taxi service. But that isn't what it says here on the poster, and that isn't the reply the Minister made to Norman Baker. So I think the time is coming to ring the number, which they've kindly provided, see if we can get any sense out of this very strange catch-22 situation. Hello, I'm at Newhaven Marine Station, and which is open, and the poster here says, I'll read you what it says. It says, for the safety of our passengers, no train services. And can you provide us a replacement taxi service? Newhaven Marine Station, this is. Newhaven Marine Station, yeah. I was a boy here. My English teacher said I'd come to no good, but little did he know that I'd stand about for hours at an end trying to buy a ticket from a station which exists, which is open, officially, legally. And that's the point, really. Legally, this station is open. You can't arrange a taxi for us? No. Yes, if we arrange a taxi, yeah. I see, so we keep hold of the receipt, yeah. Yes, the tickets we've got. Explaining in the letter that we were not able to buy the valid ticket. Where would it take us to, the taxi? Amy, you've been a huge help. So, Brian, this is what we can do. We can now book a local taxi service who will take us to anywhere we want to go. That's what she said. And then we send in the receipt to them and they refund it.
That sounds good.
It's game on.
Yes.
Because I think the next problem might be is, can a taxi actually get here to Newhaven Marine Station? Can he get through the security barriers? Hello, can we have a taxi, please, from Newhaven Marine Station? No, Newhaven Marine Station. Ah, now, you haven't ever heard of Newhaven Marine Station. There are 3 stations in Newhaven, believe it or not. Yeah. No, there's 3. Down Railway Road and then kind of... Excellent. Well, a taxi's on its way. Ah, there's a car coming. Is he going to get through the security barriers? This is very exciting. This is one of the most obscure rail journeys that it's possible to take in the British Isles. And the exciting thing is it's all funded by the taxpayer and the licence fee payer. Oh, the barrier's opening. Oh, excellent. No, we're going to be reached. And the car's coming through. Hello. Oh, can you take us, please, to Newhaven Town Station?
I can, yeah.
So, you picked us up from Newhaven Marine, taken us, we're there at Newhaven Town, so we've been on the road now for about, what, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Did you even know there was a station there?
No, I never realised that was an actual station there, train station, so...
Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.
How much do we owe you?
£2.60, please.
£2.60. Brilliant. I really think we've made it, Brian. I think at last we have made it. We are probably the first people and possibly the last people, if anyone at Southern Railway's got any sense whatsoever. So it's been a bit fun, this, but there's a serious point, isn't there? Doesn't it mean that the Department of Transport or Network Rail can, in fact, close stations and services by stealth, not tell anybody and replace them with the silly services?
Well, that appears to be the case now, and someone ought to come clean about it all.
The Ghost Trains of Old England was presented by Ian Marchant and produced in Bristol by Jolly and Jenkins.